Welcome to the year's last episode of the Umbreon Libris variety show. We wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit special since it's the holidays. And so joining me in front of the camera today, we have my wife, Indigo.
Hi. I'm normally on the other side, and I feel much more comfortable over there. This is weird.
Indigo is a very good baker, and so we decided to make a Pokemon together. So she's a good baker, but I am not. I am completely inexperienced. And on top of that, neither of us is a particularly experienced decorator.
No.
So we'll see how this goes. But in case you haven't figured out yet, the Pokemon we are going to make today is Alcremie. Let's make some space here. Put Alcremie here in the middle. Alcremie.
Who's the greatest Pokemon ever besides Gardevoir?
How are we going to make Alcremie?
Alcremie is a whipped cream Pokemon, but whipped cream just does not have the structural integrity to actually hold its shape for an extended period of time. So I was thinking of what to make it out of that would be whipped cream-like, and I thought of pavlova, which is basically meringue. So it's egg whites that has a bunch of air whipped into it, and there's like sugar and stuff added, and that will structurally hold its shape much better.
Let's show off here what book we're working from.
This is the cookbook by, I think her name is Tessa Huff.
Tessa Huff, that's right.
Tessa Huff. We're pulling from her berry pistachio pavlova cake. So we're basically just doing the pavlova portion, which is usually just like a layer of the meringue. You put whipped cream and strawberries, and then it's like stacked on top.
Is pavlova the name of the meringue thing, or is it the name of the like cake made from it?
It might be the name of the cake. But yeah, it's the thing I can think of that would just be able to maintain its shape enough for an Alcremie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we have here in front of us?
Okay.
what are the ingredients here?
So the ingredients are 5 egg whites. So when you're making a meringue, which is basically egg whites that has a bunch of air whipped into it, and like essentially you're expanding the proteins. But if you get egg yolk into that sort of interrupts that process, and you're not going to get that nice whipped meringue. So the easiest way to sort of separate your yolks from your whites is to just kind of break them into the bowl just straight up, and then actually just using clean hands to lift the yolk out of the bowl. Part of the reason why we're not kind of doing the egg process on screen is because you're able to whip a meringue, a more stable meringue, better if the egg whites are room temperature. So it's kind of funny. Separating the eggs is easiest to do when the eggs are cold. Whipping the meringue is easiest to do when it's room temp. So
we had to do it ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Also, another pro tip, meringues are easier to whip up as well when the egg whites are a little bit aged. So this is, again, another reason why we did this the day before, is so that the proteins can relax and will be more inclined to whip up the way we want it to.
More meringueable.
More meringueable, yes.
That's a technical term.
Yes.
All right, so 5 egg whites.
5 egg whites, yes. Sorry. We went off on a tangent.
No, a good tangent.
Okay, so 5 egg whites, 1 cup of sugar.
Okay.
2 teaspoons of cornstarch. 1 teaspoon of distilled white vinegar. Finally, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So the first thing that we're going to do is whip the egg whites. So yeah, you can just pour them right in there. So essentially, like, we're adding the ingredients kind of one at a time. So you're going to start whipping the whites at a really low speed, and then slowly increasing upwards. It'll start kind of clear, and then it'll kind of become like a foam, and then it'll slowly become more and more opaque white. We're whipping till stiff peaks.
We'll show you what that means.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So our whites went from that clear, yellowish kind of liquid, and has become quite light. You can kind of tell it's quite foamy and there's like really tight bubbles. You kind of want it about there, and then while you're still mixing, you're going to slowly drizzle in the sugar. You don't want to do it all at once because then you risk basically losing all the air that you've just whipped into the meringue. We're also at a good point that you can start adding the cornstarch at the same time. We'll give it a little mix. Meringue should be able to like hold its shape just standing upwards. Now obviously, as you can tell, it wasn't really able to do that at all, so it's still not there yet.
Okay, so it's still pretty runny.
Yeah.
Still has a way to go.
Yeah. So it's not...
Okay, it's getting there though, yeah.
It's getting there. But we are, though, at a pretty okay stage to add the vinegar and the vanilla. So while it's mixing, you can just kind of pour both of those in. Cool, right?
Very cool.
I think that's good. Yeah, look at that. So, a good tip as well. Ow. A good tip as well is to make sure that it's nice and glossy. So opaque white, nice and glossy, and also able to maintain its shape. Look at what I'm doing there. How to fill a piping bag. What you're gonna do is, so you take your spatula, you grab some of the batter or meringue, and you kind of just put it in there, and you rub it right against your thumb so that you can get it in there.
I see.
And then you basically take your hand out from under, and you kind of just shimmy the fold upwards again. You basically just close up the top, and you give it a nice twist, and you have your piping.
Can we use this to make a life-size alcremie? So that would be like a foot tall, like something like this.
I mean, you can try. It's probably gonna fall apart, but you can try. I was thinking the base would be about the size of a cupcake. This is what I was thinking for the base.
Okay.
Where you would do, because she has kind of like a skirt. So I would kind of just do from the top.
Okay, like a little ring of dollops to make that little kind of foot thing that she has.
Oh, I forgot to do something. Okay, so rewind a little bit. So just to make the parchment paper stay stable on the pan, just add a few dollops of the meringue. And then what I was thinking was flooding the middle here.
Okay, so I want to flood the middle.
Yeah.
And then just kind of 3D pen it.
Yeah. Accurate.
Yeah, I'm not doing too well over here. Competition. Who can bake the better alcremie?
Well, it's the same batter, so it'll still taste the same. But yeah, I just got a little bit of water. I'm just going to do this with my hands. It's probably better to do this with like a baking brush. I don't know. But because I have a bit of a swirl going on here. So instead, to make it more like alcremie-like, I'm just going to kind of smooth it out with a little bit of water and kind of make the shape myself.
Yeah, so we're like sculpting it now.
Yeah.
So for the other pieces... Mm-hmm. Are we like building it right here, or are we going to make them as like separate pieces and assemble later?
I think separate and assemble later. I don't think this is stable enough to do like a whole alcremie on the spot. You can certainly try.
Should I try? Maybe I'll make two. Maybe I'll make like a separate alcremie that I'll just try to sculpt.
Okay. You go for it, hon. Probably like if we were doing this super pro style, we would do like a stencil for the proportions.
Right. But we're not.
But we're not.
Okay, she's really leaning. I'm gonna get a stick so I can like try to sculpt this a little bit better.
I mean, I suppose like if you had like a dowel like they do for cakes, then maybe you could do like a full life-size alcremie.
Yeah, and she just like I can push her, but she's not quite staying there.
You scarred her.
Well, she's more upright now, so that's something. No. Damn it.
looks like an alcremie. I'm sorry.
It kind of does.
I mean, it kind of does.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I believe in you, Alcremie. No!
Oh no! Yeah, so as I was saying...
Moral of the story.
As I was saying, I don't think a life-size alcremie made out of pavlova would be structurally sound.
Okay, fine. She's dead. She's dead.
No. The carnage.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. Is that all the pieces? Body, scarf, and head? Not quite well proportioned, but whatever. The little droopies, hat, and sweet holders. All right, so we gotta bake these now.
Yes, these go through a slow bake at a very low temperature, and it's because like you have this beautiful white meringue, you don't want it to char and burn. These are going to go into the oven at 325 degrees. So as soon as it kind of goes in, we're actually going to lower the temperature 100 degrees going down to 225 and bake them for about an hour to 2 hours. Then you lower the temperature again to 200 degrees. You kind of crack the oven open a little bit and you bake them for, I think, another hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably another hour. So this is going to be like a 2 to 3 hour bake.
Yes.
Kind of thing. To hopefully just come out looking exactly like this, except solid.
Yes.
All right, the meringues, I guess, are out of the oven. All the pieces of alcremie are out of the oven. And just before we start assembling it, we just wanted to make some royal icing. So we've got some plain white royal icing here, which is what we're going to use as glue to stick the pieces together.
Yeah. Well, royal icing is it's just egg whites and powdered sugar. Added a touch of lemon juice just for flavor. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So for one egg white, you would do 1 cup of powdered sugar, which sounds like a lot because it is. Powdered sugar just has a way of just kind of dissolving.
And you just mix them together?
Yep, that's it.
And in Indigo's hand here, that's also a little bit of royal icing, but we've mixed in some red food coloring. So this is what we're going to use to make the eyes. And finally, we also made here just a little wash with water and food coloring, which we're going to use to kind of paint on alcremie, give it that rose tint, and also, and we're just going to use a regular brush for this, and also work on those stripes that alcremie has on its body. And of course, we have strawberries.
Yay!
Which I guess I might as well cut some tips off of so that we can use them. All right, time to decorate. So how do you suggest...
Alcremie's signature move.
Should we detach all of the pieces first?
Yeah, it comes off like that.
Okay.
You know they're ready when they kind of just come off the parchment paper super easily. If they're still adhering, that means there's still like some moisture there and that they're still needing to bake a little longer. So, well, I'm just looking at like, because obviously this isn't going to just sit on top. So I'm actually kind of thinking of taking the paring knife and just shaving off the top so that we have a nice flat area where we can kind of attach.
Okay, what I was going to suggest just happened accidentally because I was like putting it on there, and there's a little middle here that just kind of fell off.
Oh, okay.
So like now I have a hole here, and
Yay!
it sits there. Yeah. So that I was going to suggest we cut from the bottom rather than from the top. Is the royal icing going to like hold right away when we put like the things that need to be hanging off the sides? Or do we need to like let it set for a little bit?
I mean, it depends on the thickness of the icing. So I don't know. We'll see.
What?
I made a crack. It
Ooh.
split right in half.
Oh, be careful.
No.
These things are pretty fragile, yeah. Okay, I am going to take this head, and I'm going to pipe on the eyes. And I'm just going to make little dots, I guess, rather than try to be, like, super precise with it.
Okay. Well, this is a thing that happened. All right. Oh, no. Okay, well, there'll be an Instagram side.
I may have put them too close together, but... Oh, well. Maybe you can do better on yours.
Well, considering it has a hairline fracture, I'm gonna go with no.
And how should I apply the icing? Just spoon it into the hole, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I think this looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
Crap,
I forgot to put the arms on, and the arms definitely need to go...
The Insta-worthy side, I think, looks okay.
I made the mistake of making both arms in the same angle. Yeah, like the one arm looks great, but now the other arm doesn't quite fit in the, like, it looks like it's bent the wrong way.
Oh no. Yeah, I made sure to think of, like, doing a left arm and a right arm when I was doing mine.
Yeah, I was thinking of an arm sticking up like this, but...
Oh, like alcremie?
Yeah. Well, if it holds, that'll actually be okay. It's, something.
Oh, it's actually really cute, though. It turned out a lot better than that other one you tried to do.
The one that died.
The one that died. Nice high bar we have here.
No! You were doing so well. I just need it to stay. Stop sliding down. Just stay in your spot.
Because I did it, and then it was, like, fitting just fine, and then I added the royal icing, and it's like, nope, this doesn't fit. Like, at all.
Well, I guess it doesn't help that the strawberry is wet. And so the icing doesn't adhere as well to it. I probably should have attached, and you maybe have time to do this still, attach the strawberries when the things are still horizontal.
Oh, okay. Good. Thanks for the tip.
So how long before this sets?
I don't know. Ta-da!
Wow, okay. Yeah, yours actually looks really good. And it looks much better than mine.
Aww.
Yeah, like the proportions on yours are much better. Like it looks like squatter and wider, whereas mine is a bit too tall.
Yours is just having a party.
I don't know, like mine has a bit too much space up here and not enough space between the eyes. You did end up putting the arms above the like scarf thing rather than below, but like other than that, I think it looks actually really good.
The arm thing's gonna bother me now, though. Now that you mentioned it.
My strawberry is sliding again, but I'm gonna leave it because the royal icing needs some time to really set, make sure it holds together.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back in a few minutes to paint some racing stripes on it.
Woo!
All right, we're back. Our girls are set. Now we're going to try using this wash of just water and food coloring to paint some of the stripes on. Yeah. I think I'm going to do mine a little bit differently, and rather than paint like a stripe in the direction that it is like in the reference, I think I'm going to use it to accent the folds that I already have.
Yeah. Like I deliberately did the hat part with those little dips in there to match.
I see.
The thing. Oh yeah, some people complain about the way that milkery evolves. I think it's delightful because it's whipped cream, like, and it says in the description of the sweets like how to do it, or at least it hints at it. So it's not convoluted to me. To me, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. I think I'm done with mine.
Okay, I'm still filling in the details of mine.
Okay. I think mine looks okay. I'm not gonna say it looks good because it doesn't. Because it doesn't. It doesn't fit together nearly as well as yours does.
Because cut to me being done.
All right, there we go. Here we have our finished alcremies. Are you happy with how yours turned out?
I am really happy with how mine turned out. It looks so cute.
I'm not particularly happy with how mine turned out, but I'm happy with what we did. Like,
yeah.
The technique actually worked really well. It's more of a matter of like, I didn't do a particularly good job of sculpting, and I guess I also didn't do a particularly good job of like planning the sizes of the pieces.
Yeah, we didn't go in with like a specific plan. It was all just like, let's do this and then this and then this and just see what the result is. So I think for like a first attempt at creating Alcremie IRL, I think you turned out pretty good.
Mm-hmm. If you do your own, please share. Leave it in the comments. If you have some way of doing that, you can tweet it at me. We'd love to see it if you want to try it for yourself.
Yeah.
Make sure to leave a comment. Tell us what you think of our creations. And if you're new here, we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe as well. I'm Umbreon Libris.
And I'm Indigo, I guess.
And we'll see you in the next chapter. Shall we eat them? It's good. It's actually stuck together much better than I expected.
You put so much work into her. All right. Nothing good can last forever.
Yeah.
It's really good. 10 out of 10 with Alcremie again.